got the script for Romeo and Juliet because I know it's a play that's been done so many times, and so we have to really think of a fresh way to put the play. So we were thinking of ideas, like some people were suggesting we should do Aldab.
Actually, I really wanted Romeo and Juliet to be Aldab. We would need like the screen, so it was kind of problematic. But I was so obsessed with the idea. They shut down my idea. I was so hurt. And also, I wanted for this to be a musical. It's looking like it, Mom. But they turned down my idea again for the second time.
Erickson and Isa came up with the idea to do a military theme for our play, sort of a Pearl Harbor but a bit more contemporary. It worked out since we could make the two families into two military camps, and the female characters were nurses while the guy characters were soldiers. This would be the most feasible in terms of the direction and keeping in line with the script.
We really didn't know at first that our play was Romeo and Juliet. Sophia and I just picked our group mates. I feel like our group is perfect for Romeo and Juliet. Considering that we have Erickson as Romeo, then Josa. We all know how Josa is, and she's Juliet. And how we had Carl as Friar Lawrence. You know, some of us really had the perfect roles for Romeo and Juliet.
So the military theme was hard because we didn't have a specific time or kind of war. It was hard for us to make it feasible on stage. That even though the stage is plain, it has to look like a camp for the both families. And then also with the costumes, we have to make sure that everyone has the same or has a consistent type of costume, like the color, the logos.
We first made a list of things that we could borrow or things that we already have and things that we could make. And so that way we didn't have to spend so much. In coming up with the poster, first Dr. Antonio talked with us about how there had to be an icon or like a logo to make it memorable. We looked through a lot of pegs and went for a minimalistic look so that it can be clean and more memorable. On the set, originally there was supposed to be 2 crests on the walls, but then we limited it instead to 2 flags. One side was blue and one side was red to distinguish the households.
Memorizing lines, I wrote them in a piece of yellow pad, all my lines, the 29 lines of Romeo, and I recorded them. And on my way to school and going back home, I always listen to it in the car because I know that it's hard for me to memorize lines.
I don't know, I think my family is getting creeped out on me because I keep on saying my lines in my room randomly so loud. I don't know, maybe they're scared of me now.
We have to watch the movie. We have to read between the lines. What happened before they died? What happened? Why their families kept on fighting.
All of us had really different schedules, so we had a difficult time finding a common time to practice.
Because either the venues were too noisy, too small, or too crowded. So we couldn't really go all out until I think our general rehearsal or the real thing.
I encountered difficulty in showing emotion, but eventually I was able to overcome it because I learned that I just had to let go of my hang-ups and do what I needed to do for the play.
I thought that just saying my lines like, "Oh Romeo, brave Mercutio's dead," you know, I thought that would be okay, until Sir mentioned that this is a really important scene since it was the first time that someone died in the feud between the Montagues and the Capulets. So I had to show like more emotions. I had to be hysterical since it was really great though.
Okay, so my roles as Juliet's nurse and Mercutio, I think were kind of relatively easy to play. But then I still kind of had a difficult time because first it was the first time I was going to be in a play, and then I also had a hard time showing emotion. It was kind of hard for a group at first because a lot of people had different interpretations, and it was hard to put them all together. So we all towards the end of the play, we all realized how important it was for us to actually sit down and talk about what our characters felt in a certain scene in the play.
No.
Who's there?
So during the party scene,
What?
it was the first encounter of Romeo
And Juliet.
Yeah, and it was amazing because I saw the most beautiful girl.
It was hard actually, the crowd control. Like every time Sir wants to see our play, it's the most problematic part because we don't know when to freeze or when to like start dancing.
And especially the kissing scene, the first kissing scene. It was sobrang hassle.
Talaga, pag wala si Carl.
Kasi si Carl, hindi kami tinatakpan.
Kasi siya nga yung at saka matangkad si Erickson, kailangan matangkad din yung haharang.
Yan, ganun.
Bad trip.
But anyway,
it adds to the like anticipation of the audience. Are they really gonna do it or like,
no, right?
Yeah.
I think you being funny was like a compliment of me being serious.
We just have to show through our actions, and since the words are a bit difficult for the audience to understand, we have to really show what's happening, and we need to show the plot more than anything in the play.
I learned that from Sir Joem, how to make it realistic. And we were just tapping our chests while we punched, to make the sound. And some of the punches were real.
But nobody got hurt.
We even actually practiced outside rehearsals just to do a perfect fight scene for the whole crowd. That's how you do a fight scene.
During the practice, the production, I knew them more. We bonded so well.
The most memorable part of the experience would, I think group chat. Because that's where most of the inside jokes came out, and that's where everything started. I think from this experience, it was just very fun getting to know everyone. It was just like making new friends and everything like that. And it all started from a little group chat, which is still very active until now.
You have to listen to all their ideas, and believe me, they had so many ideas. Like every practice, people would come up and say things like, we should do this, we should do that, but I knew we couldn't possibly do everything. So I learned how to reject and how to accept the things that worked for us and the things that didn't work for us.
In the first night, she was the one who actually did her own hair and makeup, arrived in the set with her giant hair, and everyone was shocked. But then she said it was because she was the star, or like she was supposed to make pabonga for the show. But then we had like a little disagreement, but in the end she won and it worked out.
The first night, our play reached 18 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, and so that was a big problem for us because we didn't expect it to run that long.
Then we had to remove the tableau part since it was really time consuming and we couldn't properly portray the riot scene in the first scene since everyone should be fighting with each other, so it was too organized for a riot scene.
We consulted with our teacher, and he helped us fix the entrances and exits so that they went by more smoothly. Like we tried to remove as much dead air as possible.
So for Mercutio, I had to do a fight scene where I had to die. And then the first night, I was choked to death just because we thought it would look cool. And the second night, we were able to analyze the accidental way of how Mercutio died. And we thought it would look more of an accident if we used just one punch, which usually does not mean death, but then in that case it did, since it was an accident. That particular scene added to the impression that the Capulets had gone too far, and the war was taken into another level because someone had already died.
Actually, theater is really a different experience, especially if we compare it to film, because everything that's done, when you're on stage, feel the moment, enjoy the moment, and in case that you actually do something wrong, just ad-lib or interact with your co-actors, it actually helps.
I'll never forget all the memories, all the practices, the Shakespeare lines, the meriendas,
the lunches, the dinners, the fight scenes, the oh woes, and just everything else. Out of all the group works I've had so far in college, this is definitely the best, the most fun, the most memorable one. If I could, I would do it all over again with this group who has become my family.
What's my favorite line in the play? I think the sweet floor.
Sweet flower. Sweet flower.
Definitely sweet flower.
Sweet flower. Oh, whoa.
Sweet flower. Sweet flower. Oh, whoa.
Sweet flower.
Sweet flower.
Sweet floor, I mispronounce it.